Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Horror Master YouTube channel. Welcome back to day number 21. Holy shit, we're now legal to drink, people. We're legal to drink of my 31 Days of Horror series. So, like I said, 21 episodes. Again, my insanity is going crazier and crazier and crazier downhill with this franchise, which by the end of the franchise will go completely insane into an insane asylum. Or probably by the time that happens, I'm already in the insane asylum. So if you see a change in settings around that time, you might know why. But anyways, episode 21, we're gonna be ranking the entire Wrong Turn franchise. And franchise that, quite honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of the franchise. I just remember probably the first 2 to 3 films I ever saw. I mean, the concept of a Wrong Turn franchise is a really cool one, but overall, I'm not the biggest fan of the franchise. It never connected with me, but it's a franchise I wanted to give it a shot because there's been a couple of new films I haven't seen since the last maybe first 3 films I've seen. Of course, with the brand new movie that came out last year, I kind of saw it and made me kind of intrigued of what they could do with that new reboot. And it kind of went me back to watch the previous films. So we're gonna see how all these films rank up. So we have 7 films in the franchise, a bit of a smaller franchise compared to last yesterday's episode with Puppet Master, which my fucking got 14 fucking films. But regardless of that, let's get into the rankings. So we have 7 films to talk about. So at number 7, at the bottom of the barrel, and I really mean very deep bottom of the barrel, we have Wrong Turn 5 Bloodlines. Now the wrong, like I mentioned before, I'm not the biggest Wrong Turn fan. Some people might be the biggest Wrong Turn fan. Think it's probably one of the greatest films of all time. That's up to you. But with this film, when you had Doug Bradley, Pinhead himself, I automatically thought this is gonna be a great film because, like I said before, Doug Bradley being Pinhead, part of the Hellraiser franchise, which stay tuned for that video that will be down the road. But I felt that this film was so bad. Doug Bradley tried his best to make the film more what it should be, but the acting in this film wasn't the greatest. The characters I feel were lackluster. I felt they were so bad that I couldn't even watch. Like I had to watch it for the sake of watching this film to give my full opinion about this. But honestly, I almost turned off the TV. And I was like, no, it's not for me. But I just kept going like a champ, and I had to watch the film to the very end to see the film that I had to see, and it kind of made me turn down my brain. It kind of was like shit into my brain, like I was doing damage to my brain. But it's a film that I'm not gonna go back and rewatching it because it's not really my cup of tea. At number 6, we have Wrong Turn 6, Last Resort. Kind of the same thing I said about Bloodlines, that it almost made me want to turn off the TV and not watch this film again. But at least in Last Resort, I felt that the kills were a bit better than Bloodlines. I mean, again, the acting could have been better. Some of the stuff, like I said before, Wrong Turn, not the biggest fan of the franchise, but I do believe they have some cool moments. This film, unfortunately, doesn't have any cool moments that really made me want to go rewatch the film because sometimes those cool moments can make the film a make or break film. And I felt that this one was not really the one that kind of captivated the most. Not like I said, a bit slighter than Bloodlines, but not by a lot. So Wrong Turn 6, Last Resort is at my number 6. At number 5, we have Wrong Turn 2, Dead End. Of what was mentioned before, when we have a great success in a first film, and the second film always tries to make it as equal or better, or sometimes it can be so bad that it kind of ruins the franchise. With Dead End, I felt that it tried its best to elaborate to the point of the first film, even though it didn't really do as much as the first film did, which we'll talk about in a bit. No, and to include Henry Rollins in this film, of course, you all know Henry Rollins, of course, if you're big Black Flag fans, you know. But I felt that Dead End 2 was a bit of a letdown, in my opinion. I remember watching this film when I was like maybe 12, 13 years old. I thought it was the coolest film. But after as I grew older and began to, I guess, began more in depth into horror, kind of realized that even though the film might be good when you're older, when you're younger, but when you're older, you begin to see the flaws of the film. And with the inclusion of Henry Rollins, I immediately thought, oh, this movie's gonna stand up. It really didn't stand up the most. There was a lot of people, a lot of fucking, pretty much. I mean, it's like almost like a lot of these films, and mostly the entire franchise is about incest. But this film has more fucking than you see in a fucking porn video, which is fucking amazing. You can think of that. But, Dead End 2, again, another film that really didn't captivate me. It didn't make me want to turn off the TV. At least that's positive. It didn't make me want to turn off the TV, but it's a film that I might just watch it maybe once or twice and just forget about it. So Wrong Turn 2 did it at my number 5. At number 4, we have Wrong Turn 3 Left to Die. Now originally this film was one of my favorite Wrong Turn films. I think this was the first film in the franchise that I actually deep dive into the franchise. I think it was this one, maybe this one or the first one. I don't remember which one it was, but I do believe the Wrong Turn 3 a bit better. Like I said, now we're going up the hill where these films are a bit better than what they should be, in films that I do recommend anybody who is interested in the Wrong Turn franchise to at least give them a watch. Wrong Turn 3, the kills are a bit more memorable, gory as hell. I will say that, gory as hell, but sometimes I mentioned before the gore can help a movie or can damage a film, and I felt that the gore in this film, it kind of did a bit of both. It helped the movie to elevate to more, making it a bit more out there, but it kind of damaged the film because sometimes, like I mentioned before, more blood doesn't really mean it's gonna be even better. But regardless, a great little film, a bit better than Wrong Turn 2 in my opinion. So I recommend anybody to check it out just for say you actually saw it. At number 3, we have Wrong Turn 4 Bloody Beginnings. Now, this is the prequel to how this whole Wrong Turn franchise began. This is the prequel to how Three Finger became Three Finger, or usually the main antagonist of the entire franchise, how they all got out of the psychiatric hospital and they got loose in the woods and all that, which you know, it doesn't have that much gore, but then again, sometimes when prequels kind of tell you the backstory of how a character became how it is, sometimes it loses that mystique of it. Depending on the franchise, sometimes it could make the character more understandable to why he does the things that he is doing, but sometimes it could tarnish that reputation and make it more like, really, he's just doing that because of X amount of thing and X amount of that. But I felt with Wrong Turn 4, it kind of did help to give us a bit more sympathy for the characters, even though you don't want sympathy in your main antagonist. But at the beginning, you're like, also that's why they're doing why they're actually doing this, and you began to realize that the one they're fucked up in the fucking brain, but that's a different story. But Wrong Turn 4 actually a pretty entertaining film. Not that much blood, but still an entertaining film. A film that I could still probably watch more often than the previous ones I've talked about. So a bit up the ladder, but not by much. But again, I'm on number 3, Wrong Turn 4, Bloody Beginnings. Now to the top 2. Now the top 2 are probably 2 films that, depending on what era or what films you actually saw first, you might be leaning into. Some people are going to be more into to the original because it was the first film and kind of the start of the franchise. And then the other film and the other films, it's kind of a reboot of the entire franchise, taking a new light on the franchise. But to me, at number 2, Wrong Turn, the 2021 version, the reboot, it ranks at number 2 because I like the idea that they took, like I said, mostly reboots. Not all of them work. Not all of them work. This one's one of the ones that do work because they actually they try to respect what the previous films have done, but take it in their own way and make it completely something that we're not expecting. When you see the film, you're like, oh, this is gonna happen. Nope, it takes a different direction. You're like, what the fuck? You didn't see that coming. But I do feel that this new Wrong Turn, is a really great film, and I would like to see more films in this new reiteration of the franchise. Maybe make it more better. I mean, who knows? Maybe if they make more amazing films, maybe one of the remakes that they're gonna do might be even top of the list when we ever come across this franchise again. If they ever do another film, it's a film that I do highly recommend anybody to watch because it's an actual great film and it takes liberty, goes crazy up beyond all of that. But you know, Wrong Turn 2021 version is a really, really good, good, good movie. And of course, at number 1, we have Wrong Turn, the original film. This is the film that started it all. Of course, sometimes the first film is always the best one, or sometimes it's the worst one. But it's sometimes the most critical film in the franchise because it's the started one that it's either gonna make or break the franchise. And with Wrong Turn, released in the 2000s, when horror was kind of stale at the moment because we've been so much saturated with horror at the time in the early 2000s that anything that came out of horror was kind of like, we've seen this before, we know what's gonna happen. With Wrong Turn, they took a concept of what would happen if you're in the woods, stranded, and these motherfuckers are trying to kill you with no way to find help, no way of survival, and it's a fucking incest motherfuckers. It's just crazy to think that a film like this actually did a lot of success in the 2000s when movies in the early 2000s when horror was kind of stale at the moment after the success of like a Scream franchise, and then in the 2000s everything in the early 2000s was kind of stale. It took like a movie like maybe like Saw, or maybe down the road something like Hostel to kind of give a new life for horror. But Wrong doesn't get that appreciation much for horror because of, like I said, it was in that time period that movies were kind of like nah, it's not really worth it. But it's a film that I do recommend anybody to watch because it's a fucking amazing film. Like it's the one film that along with the remake, that I probably have seen more than like 5 times in my lifetime, maybe 10 or more, depending. But Wrong Turn, the original, great film, and that's why it's at by number one. And that does it for the video, guys. I hope you guys really enjoy this rank combo. Like I said, we're almost to the end of my 31 Days of Horror. It's gonna be a shame that we're gonna be ending that so soon. I mean, we have a lot of fun, guys. You have no idea doing the research for these films, watching all these films, my insanity going deep into oblivion of watching all these films. I'm surprised I haven't fucking like got completely more insane than I am right now. But regardless, you know, thank you guys for watching all the videos so far, and we still have a long way to go for the series to end. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video for episode number 22. We're gonna be tackling the Jeepers Creepers franchise. Yeah, another a modern day franchise. A lot of people have more love than hate because you'll see my full thoughts when we do for tomorrow's video. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do that shit bang, guys. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram. Don't forget to follow me on my Twitter. Like I said, I'm trying to think of more ideas of what to do after my 31 Days of Horror series. So if you have any suggestions, let me down in the comments. I really would like to hear you guys' opinion. Stay safe, everyone. And until next time, stay metal.